All right, yeah, we can get going here.
Let's do it. GM, everybody, welcome to a very special edition of Awake and Jake. The crazy people at MVHQ let me take the reins on hosting. I don't know why they did that, but they did. Jake, what's up? How are you?
Jinzo, what's up, dude? Yeah, doing excellent. Glad you're here to fill in. Much appreciated. Um, a lot to talk about this week. A lot to get into. We got a lot of crazy action all over the place. Most notably, obviously, the election here in America happening tomorrow, which obviously has a huge effect on the crypto market. So we'll certainly dive in there. But first off, man, how's the weekend for you? How you doing?
I've been good, man. Some nice DFS gains, as you saw. Like a few of us, including yourself, we got it. We got some monster rake-ins, so that was fun. A lot of action in the sports scene. Some of the shitcoins did well too. I mean, yeah, it couldn't have been better. I felt like we were in a good spot all weekend, and hopefully it goes on for the rest of the week. I know it's going to be a bit of a rocky week, but I hope that it leads into some big gains for a lot of our members here.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I can't wait. Yeah, thankfully I was able to hit a big win over the week yesterday in DFS. Nice little 60K take home. Um, yeah, it feels good. I feel like I've probably been on like not like a pretty extended like it feels like drought um recently, and then like just in this past like week, just that and like the peanut and I think a couple other plays have taken me back. So it feels good, man. I have a very everyone has their own like trading styles. And mine is very much like high risk, high reward. I just like have a very high tolerance for risk, and I want like when I win, I want to win big. When I do, and because um I feel like there's a lot of positive EV to be captured in those areas because a lot of people can't handle that kind of risk. Um, not that I'm not that I'm special or anything. I'm just kind of broken maybe.
Broken, we're all broken. And NFTs did that to us, bro.
Yeah. Uh, so anyway, it feels good. So like I guess just with that, it's there can be like periods where I get like I would say down, like it feels shitty because it's like there can be like there's not I'm not like getting a bunch of small wins to kind of boost my confidence. There's like I can be like losing on a good amount of stuff. And then ideally, when I do win, it makes up for all the wins and more. And so I was definitely on like a losing streak for a little bit there, and it was kind of getting down on me. So it certainly feels good in the past week or so to get some back to back big wins and get us back feeling good, get the confidence back. It's always a good motivator, obviously.
Yeah, it was very similar for me too. I was in a bit of a downtrend, and you know how it is. We gamble a lot. We tell ourselves, "Oh, the market's a little shitty. I don't want to play. I'm gonna sit on the sidelines a little bit," but we still end up like bidding, and that whole stack you made off good plays just dies with this meta that you're maybe not comfortable with. And it felt good for me too to get like a peanut win and a couple other good ones. We're in a decent spot right now, and I hope it continues. But yeah, it's always about adjusting our strategies and trying to maybe keep some of those gains. But you're right, like swinging for the fences, if you have the risk tolerance for it, like you have such crazy upswings that you can have making 100x plays and stuff. It's really crazy. But yeah, man, congrats. Well, we can get it into here. Give us a little bit of what you're seeing on the macro side. I mean, every week we go through this, and I think it's very valuable info. I know this week's going to be a little messy with the elections and stuff, but yeah, what are you seeing out there, man?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as we're talking, Bitcoin unfortunately has been dumping this morning, sitting at about 67.6. As we're recording this, it's um sorry, I have to refresh this page. Down 1.4% on the week. So it feels shittier though, because we obviously last week, we pretty much touched all time high. We were like basically like just under it. At like 73. I'm not sure exactly how far we got up to. I think it was 73 something. Um and obviously kind of have reverted back from there, but I guess it is nice to zoom out a little bit. Like we're only down 1.4% on the week. Alts are another story, especially like the big ones. ETH down 3.7%, Solana down 8%. After its big run up, it's kind of reverted all that. Since then, I think it got up to like 180 or so in the past week. So, yeah, back down. I think in general, this is going to be a very volatile week for us in general for the market. I mean, with the election being such a partisan crypto issue, we talked about this a bunch, but I mean, obviously, I'm not really. This isn't obviously new information for you guys, but obviously, Trump has been a lot more positive towards crypto than Kamala has. So I would think, I think it makes sense that a Trump win would, kind of catapult the markets up, and a Kamala win would probably put us back down. But I do obviously want to talk through that more here. I would just say in general, I think like especially like today and especially tomorrow, I think there's gonna be a lot of, and probably like the day after too. But with the election being tomorrow, I think there's gonna be a lot of volatility in the market. I would just say like be careful like making bets in this next day or two. Like I don't know, unless you have like a really good lean on something, like you could be right about something and still like come out as a loser just because of how volatile stuff is. Like you could get shaken out of your position, or I don't know. I would just be very careful. Like I would probably be more risk off in this next day or two, just because I think there's going to be a lot of swings. In whatever direction something swings, like that, I don't know if that uh, technically is going to be like the predominant trend going forward. We could get a big reverse back to the other side. Like if we dump a ton, like we could get a reverse up, or if we get some big green candles, like we could dump right back down, right? So I would definitely be careful with any type of leverage if you are going that route, or just anything really in general. I'm guessing, especially in like shitcoin streets, I bet a lot of the attention is going to be on like political type coins. So if you're in other stuff, those could probably bleed out as well. But just in general, I would just be careful and expect quite a bit of volatility coming in. But yeah, what I'm seeing on macro side, again, I'm not a macro expert. I just follow people who are. And we actually got a Kobe tweet, which is pretty sweet. We don't really get much from Kobe these days. If you're newer, I guess, to the space, don't know who Kobe is, he's like probably the GOAT of crypto analysis. Like I'd say any like OG who knows about Kobe would talk about him in a very positive light. He's just like proven to like be extremely accurate in a lot of his predictions in the crypto world. He doesn't really engage as much as he used to back in the day, but he still gets some really good insight. And he did tweet out yesterday. He said, "Here, I'll post this. See it. His account was private, unfortunately.
I
I don't
have
know
it here
why I
if you
can't
want.
paste this right now.
I
They
got
like
it. I
won't
got
let
it.
me copy and paste for some reason.
I got it here.
But oh, thank you. But essentially, he says Bitcoin over 100K. Doesn't matter who wins. Probably just impacts how quickly it happens and who else and where else we go on the journey. Um, and yeah, that's kind of the sentiment I'm seeing from Kobe, and Don's pretty in line with that same sentiment. Um, just that like, regardless if Trump wins, if Kamala wins, it's probably gonna be, we're probably going over 100K regardless. So that's great that he's that bullish. Don is a very similar sentiment. He pretty much says the same thing. That one is like, look, if Trump wins, like we probably get like a small pump, because a lot of people are expecting Trump to win in the crypto world. I'd say that's like pretty resounding um, opinion. If you like look on crypto Twitter, that people think Trump's going to win, um, and people aren't as much positioned for a Kamala win, where there could be quite a bigger washout if Kamala does win. Um, but again, regardless, this next tweet, he's saying, I generally think the election doesn't have a large impact besides the initial up or down move, depending on whether Trump or Kamala wins. Um, essentially, we go up if Trump wins temporarily, we go down if Kamala wins temporarily. But in the longer run, we're going up regardless. So I would say again that goes similar to like the volatility thing. Like we're probably going to get a lot of volatility. I would say just like kind of, in my opinion, it's probably smart to go a little risk off until we kind of know what's going to happen. In general, markets don't like uncertainty, right? So I think there's just so much uncertainty right now with the election that once that's gone, regardless of whatever side there is, it's going to be a good thing.
I completely agree. I felt the same. Like we've seen it with every election in the past. Like it doesn't matter how it goes. It might matter short term, but long term, it's always going to make crypto move. It's like almost a release. You tell yourself, "Ah, if it's finally over, we could finally get back to, you know what I mean, and back to normal things, and like pump this market." And it just eventually it just moves up. I think, and we've seen it in the past. And I think, like you said, the Trump side's already baked in for the most part. We might like we saw a little bit of dump this week, but I think it's because the quote unquote polls kind of tightened, and that's just a little bit of fears that dropped the market. But in general, I don't I'm not afraid long term at all. Just I can't wait to get it over with and just see who wins and move on, man. It's taking
Yeah,
taking way too much of our focus, and it's like slowing down this market. Just get it over with, give us the winner, and let's move on and like make this market move up again.
I agree. I think there's so much that is bullish on the macro side of things to push us up that it doesn't really matter in the long term who does win. Obviously, I think Trump would be better in the short term. That's certainly the consensus. I shared another Don post. Here's a chart if you want to kind of look through. Um, the Kamala one, I'm pretty sure is very exaggerated for a Harris win.
All the way
That's
down to 10K. Hey, I
yeah,
wonder
yeah,
who he's
yeah.
voting for.
Yeah, he has it down to 10K for a Harris win. He's not voting for anyone. He's German. Um,
Okay, okay.
um, but yes, but essentially, it's kind of he's kind of just showing the fact that he thinks if whatever the swing is, like it'll probably be a bigger swing for Harris if if she were to win and for Trump. But obviously, if for our bags, a Trump win would be better. But you might be able to get discounts, obviously, if there's a Harris win. We'll see what happens. I'm feeling good, regardless of the outcome. I kind of, like you said, I just kind of want it to be over by now.
Yeah, it might be. I guess the only way really to take advantage of this is if you're confident crypto is going to move up, just take advantage of these and bid. No, don't like long or short or anything. You don't want to be getting leverage trading. You don't want to leverage trade because there's going to be a lot of opportunity to just get like wrecked, either up or down. I think volatility is still in play, but like if you're confident that we're going higher, man, this is where you buy bags. If you missed, you know what I mean, last week or I mean a few weeks ago when we were lower, this is where you load up, I guess, if you're really confident that in 2 or 3 months we're going to be much higher. But other than that, I would not be leverage trading. I wouldn't even be doing like too many risky options right now because you really don't know. It could shoot up tomorrow and then by tomorrow night it could come right back down. So you don't want to play either side of the long or short, I don't think. But yeah, that's just how I see it. Just get it over with finally, and let's get back onto this market. One thing this did bring on though is it's brought on a lot of interesting shit coins. We saw Peanut run, and we saw funnily enough we saw like all the Republicans jump on the Peanut train because you some of you might not be aware. You'd be living under a rock if you're not aware, but we had a whole story happen with this squirrel, this famous squirrel on TikTok and on Instagram or whatever called Peanut, and this squirrel got taken away from its masters up in New York and executed for no reason at all. Basically, just I don't know. They they decided to take this guy's squirrel away from him and check it for rabies. But the only way to check for rabies is to execute the squirrel, and it caused a complete upstir in online. It went viral really, and it was good for our bags because a lot of us were already invested in Peanut before it even died. Like we were playing the cute meta, and we had positioned ourselves accordingly. Just playing a pump. We never expected it would become the next Harambe, but it did. And naturally, the Republicans came out and used it as a weapon against the Democrats, and it made you know what I mean, a whole story. So basically, that was good for our bags. But yeah, Jake, give us a little bit of your point of view on all that.
Uh, yeah, pretty wild situation. Thankfully, we knew about Peanut. early at like really early on. We actually bought too early probably because then it dumped it quite a bit from when we originally bought. Um, and then went crazy from there. And Elon's been tweeting about it nonstop. But yeah, I think just power of the power of narrative. I guess of like a good story. I think is kind of what you want for meme coins is kind of what that shows. It definitely went a lot more beyond what my highest expectations were. But I'm glad we got a lot of really good wins out of it. Yeah, as far as like the political stuff, as far as the political stuff on that, it's like I don't know. I don't really care as much about that. It's more so like how can we utilize this for our bags. Um, but yeah, I also wanted to open it up just for if anyone had any takes on market in regards to the election. Obviously, we're not looking for any type of political takes or opinions. This is not the place for that. But if you do have any takes on or feedback or anything regarding like what the market's going to look like or how it affects our bags with this election stuff, I do want to at least open up for the big crowd that we got here this morning.
GM.
What up, Waff?
Hey,
Off, what's up,
congrats.
buddy?
What's up, guys? Congrats, by the way, Jake, on that mega win yesterday.
Thank you, man.
I just want to say, I think we're going to see a lot of volatility from now till we find out who wins, right? I think no matter what happens, the other side's going to contest the elections. We're going to see massive swings in like the pre-markets at night, like tomorrow night going into Wednesday. So I just think it's like what to Jinzo's point, playing the leverage game is like definitely gambling. I mean, you could probably hit something, but I wouldn't mess with it.
Yeah, good point. And there's something that's important to note too. If this is really close, it might take days before we see a result. I think in 2020, it took 4 or 5 days before we got an actual like result. So it won't be just Tuesday night we have a winner. It could take 2 or 3 days. I know a lot of people might not be in tune with how US politics work, and even me, I'm not from the US, so I'm not exactly in tune with it, but it could take a while. So buckle down. It'll be a bit of a weird week.
I mean, there's definitely been a lot of early voting going on. Like I've seen it in my neighborhood for the past, call it 2 weeks, where people are going to like the local like rec center and voting early. So like they got the vote out early. So maybe the results come in a little bit quicker. But you figure by I think midnight on like Wednesday morning, like maybe Alaska time, like we should probably know who wins by then. Like if it's not so heated, like that's probably the earliest somebody's gonna call it.
What was it? Sorry, I missed that. What was the time that you said?
Like midnight Alaska time. So I think that's probably, if I'm not mistaken,
Wow.
3-4 a.m. Eastern time.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be wild. I guess it depends on um if it's like a bigger victory and it would be earlier, right?
Yeah, exactly. If it's a big spread, then we'll know pretty quick. But if it's like a matter of a few votes, like a percent or less or whatever, like I mean, it might take a while. It might be a lot of uncertainty for a couple of days.
Um yeah, I think it's how I'm personally playing stuff right now, and obviously everyone is in different I guess realms of the crypto world, but my attention has certainly been mainly shit coins lately because I think that's where a lot of the opportunity's been. But personally, like I said, I like with the volatility, like I'm going pretty risk off for the next day or so or two or three until we kind of get like some of the uncertainty cleared out. I would say like mainly I'm gonna be like not really in any stuff besides like long term bags unless it's like probably like a political related coin. I just feel like that's where all the volume is gonna go because I mean like the shit coins especially are just a game of attention and that's where all the attention is gonna be on this election over the next couple days. So that's kind of where I want to play my cards. So personally, I'm probably just looking out for anything that's like funny or whatever, or any type of memes that come up or go viral based on like the election. Like, who knows what's going to happen? I'm kind of just going to have some dry powder ready to take some gambles. But besides that, I'm going to be pretty risk off, I'd say, just because I don't want to get shaken out of anything. And I also don't want to be in stuff that like bleeds like crazy. Because it's not the right narrative for what's going on. So that's essentially how I'm playing. I would like to know if anyone has any other takes or like any specific areas of their market that they're looking at right now. Given where attention is on the election, any poly market bets that are a lock.
Poly market bets, I love it. Such a degen site. Yeah, I wish Kenny was here. He's always got a good take on poly market stuff in our DFS chat. It would be nice to see him chime in, but he's not here. Yeah, anybody else?
On Poly Market, look how easy it was manipulated, right? It was like a 30
yeah.
lead, and then it went down to like 4 or 5 in just like one day. So I don't think you could rely on Poly Market for odds anymore.
No, you can't. I don't think you ever really could. I've seen so many of them get demolished. It's just a little bit of money tilts it a big way. It was actually not to get into it too much, but it was used. This was all used as a political tool. They wanted to make it look like a wide spread because they know so many people are looking at that. So it was all manipulated on purpose to maybe sway some votes. That's how I saw it anyway. So Van Squeep says regarding election volatility, I've started taking some money out of bigger meme coins like Popcat with etc. Just trying to hedge my risk, given that assets like that can easily go down 70% in events like this, compared to bigger assets like BTC, where you only need to be able to tolerate maybe a 30% dump. And I agree. Like we saw, even with I wish I would have thought this sooner. I thought of it a little too late, but with went down from its highs of like 260 all the way down to $2 right now. So there was a lot of discounts to be had if you were just a little bit ahead of market. But yeah, now at this point, I'm just not going to sell. I know eventually it's going to hit all-time highs again. I think meme coins, the main meme coins, are going to be running again. And if the rest of the market flies, meme coins are going to do up like crazy numbers, just because it feels like this cycle has been all about meme coins, and they've just outpaced everything else in sight. So when Bitcoin starts flying again, I feel like meme coins are just going to be like the thing that people attack. It's crazy because we haven't seen like utility coins are out, like anything that's utility coin or tied to a company or to anything at all, like just anything that's like quote unquote legit or launched even last cycle just hasn't moved as good as meme coins, just because I guess meme coins give something people to associate with. But yeah, we don't need to get into those too much. We've talked about them in the past. That's just how I see it. I'll play it a little bit like you too, Jake. I think I'll be liquid, and I'll be going in and out of whatever political coins pop up. Historically, they haven't done well for long, so I'll probably just be jumping in and out and making money. Hopefully, making good gains there. But I don't. Outside of maybe one or two that might stick, I think they're all just going to be quick pump and dumps. So I'll be careful there. We've seen it before. Like, oh look, Trump and Biden are having their thing, and then like they were having their what's it called, their debate, right? How many coins do we see pop up and dump instantly on any little keyword or buzzword that was popping off during that debate? I mean, it's going to be the same. I think there's going to be a lot of those pop off, or you know what I mean, and none of them are really going to stick. Maybe one or two, or maybe even it'll be one or two that already exist that really take the charge, right? So yeah, I'm not going to place anything long term into those, but I will be playing the pumps for sure. That's actually a good time to mention there's a few good field reports on shitcoins actually that popped off this week. I'm going to mention them now because they helped me a lot, and they're going to help a lot of people that are new. Lizard Capital posted on "Are you trading or gambling?" Field report. I like that one a lot. It kind of helped me recenter a little bit and like show me that maybe I'm gambling a little too much, and just to kind of recenter myself and focus a little bit on my rules. Another one I liked a lot was by Gladiator. He basically made a post about all the tools and bots that can maximize your gains. I know a lot of us are always looking to like find those bots, and we don't always find them. Well, he made a nice list. So it's called Shitcoin Trading Episode 2, all the tools and bots to maximize gains. and I would give that one a read too. I mean, I think that's gonna help level up my game, so I'm taking that one a little seriously. I haven't gotten into it yet too much, but yeah, good place to start there. Botwin has a nice one that popped out that he posted last night too while you were touching grass. Basically, a nice little update on the market and stuff. Good place to head for a nice, a nice read on the market. And Fly by Wire posted one. He added another edition of his farm. If you're looking to not do shitcoins and you're looking to farm like he's done, I know he's been successful with that. Give that a read, and go see how maybe you can farm for some gains instead of getting degen like we do on the shitcoin streets.
Yeah, for sure. I know. I definitely talk about like shitcoins a lot, and we have a lot lately. But there's a lot of different ways you can play the market. You certainly don't have to go that route if that's not your forte or anything. And there's certainly plenty of farming opportunities out there too. If that's more your speed and how you like to play the crypto game. Um, yeah, I wanted to kind of touch on a couple of things in those field reports, which were awesome, by the way. Botwin's report, he kind of did like the rundown. Um, I think some really interesting things I saw is Florida as well as Michigan. Now we're seeing some really big pension funds, like government pension funds, buying into the ETFs, which these pension funds are like gigantic, like billions of dollars. So it's really good to see that them um, adding some exposure to crypto, just like a general. It seems like now it's like becoming more of a accepted general rule of thumb. All right, allocate X percent, 1% or whatever of the fund towards crypto. And the more and more that gets mainstream and accepted, like that just it's I think that's just kind of just gonna be a snowball effect for all the big funds to all right, kind of like how they have like, all right, allocate certain X percentage to bonds and to stocks. And now it's like or like real estate or whatever. And now it's gonna be crypto is establishing itself as one of the categories. Um I mean, there's like, I mean, in total, obviously, with all of these funds, it adds up to trillions of dollars. And that can just be such a huge amount of buy pressure if that starts to become like a normal mandate for these funds to have X percentage towards the Bitcoin ETF or towards the ETH ETF. Actually, is what we saw in Michigan. Surprisingly, I think they're the first state pension fund to buy the ETH ETF. They actually bought more than the Bitcoin ETF. I'm not sure if that lasts, but I thought that was a important note. Um, yeah, I just think in general it's just a really good sign. It like establishes credibility too. Like it gives like businesses more of a green light. Okay, if like the states are willing to do it, maybe businesses or like more local municipalities, colleges, they're also going to be more uh, willing, I guess, to allocate some of their funds towards crypto as well. So I just thought it was really important to note how much that's just becoming more like mainstream and legitimized.
Yeah, good point. I mean, I think last cycle we thought it was going to be the cycle for mainstream and stuff, and we were kind of duped there, right? We we ended up not having the super cycle we thought, and I guess we were just one cycle early. But this one's kind of crazy, where everyone's talking about crypto, right? And everybody's looking to get some sort of exposure. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll get a dump eventually in the coming years, right? We always have like a cycle, but I kind of feel like it's going to be a little bit less of a big drop, and it's going to be a bit more cushioned by people wanting to get in, because now we have institutional buys, we have retail buying, we have a
Yeah.
lot of different sectors buying. So I feel like, yeah, maybe we will take a hit, but I feel like there's going to be so many people bidding. Like we even saw this week, didn't what's his face, Michael Saylor say he wanted to bid another few $1 billion worth of Bitcoin again. Like it's crazy what we're seeing this cycle. I guess people finally realized that he was right, and that it's basically a good place, a good hedge, and a good place to park some money, especially some big funds. And yeah, I mean, people are bidding Bitcoin and other coins much more than they were in cycles prior, and I feel like that's just it just can't be ignored.
Yeah, the fact that pension funds are buying is not only bullish just from the sheer size of like how much money they have available to buy, but it's also bullish from like what their time horizon is. Like they're buying to hold, right? They're not trading these assets. They are buying with like a decades long time horizon. Because I mean these are funds, right, that are preparing to be available for people when they retire, like in a long time from now, right? So um a lot of so that's just like supply that's no longer going to be on the market when they buy, and I think that can be a real. That's why that can be like such a big snowball effect. Is even in like dumps, they're not capitulating on those bitcoins or on those Ethereum. And that's just like pretty much out of the market permanently.
Bullish. Yeah,
Um,
it's fun.
Go ahead, go
No, what were we gonna say, Jake? Go ahead. I was just saying it's cool.
ahead. Yeah, I wanted to get back to also on Lizard's field report. I think he makes a really good note about the trading, how the trading is gambling, or sorry, are you trading or are you gambling? I thought it's just like such an important reminder, and I think I really needed to hear that too. So I'd certainly recommend it. It's a real quick read too. I don't have it in front of me right now. I was gonna link it, but essentially he says you need to have an edge, right? When you enter a trade, you need to be able to like identify, all right, in this trade, like this is my specific edge, whether that's like an informational advantage that you have over the market, like you learn something earlier than what the market has, or you have like a specific I don't know, experience with this narrative or conviction um on an asset, and you like kind of seen a story play out before, so like you have experience in the market, and the price that it's at is incredibly undervalued for what you think the real market price is. Like I think things like that are really important, like to be able to identify. I think that's just like such a good exercise to before you get into trade. Just be like, hey, like, can I identify what my edge is in this trade? Like, and if you can't, then you probably should not be taking the trade. I just think that's so important, and it's such a important step, like as a trader, as you're kind of going on the journey.
I agree. I look back sometimes and I'm like, I don't know why I did that. Like, I never do that. It's not something like, but the gambling side, right? It just gets the claws dig deep into you, and you just get away from what you know sometimes, just because you FOMO and you want to play the pump or whatever, and you end up getting wrecked a lot of the times just because you're not staying in your lane and you're not like really just staying true to what you know. And then, yeah, I mean, it's just such a hard. You need to reset very often. I mean, many times a week. Sometimes I need to kind of recenter myself and kind of cool down and focus on my. I got disconnected there. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I did too for some reason. I was
Yeah,
in the
that was weird.
Discord issue.
I think Discord. Yeah, yeah. Just staying focused and staying grounded is important, and not getting too crazy with it, because it's so easy. We say it often, but it's so easy to like, oh, I made 100x or whatever. Let's say, just for simplicity's sake, I made a 10x or 15x, something that doesn't happen every day, right? Well, now you start thinking you're a genius and you get loose with it, and the next player playing 3 or 4 times the size you usually do. I mean, that's you gambling. That's you getting away from it and trying to you're trying to maximize an upside that's not there. So you need to kind of like just center yourself and cool off and just get back to what you know. It's very important.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else want to give us their little how have you guys been doing on trading this week? Anybody want to chime in and tell us if they had a good week, or how they see maybe giving us their side of the strategy for gambling, for trading or gambling? Van Squeeb is typing. Waff, did you get into shitcoins at all, or no? Or were you just like mostly just looking at Bitcoin still? I'm gonna ask you while I wait for them typing.
Oh, I mean, I get into like one or two, like not that much. I don't have like the bandwidth to pay attention too much, so I'm mostly messing with runes. But I'll get into the occasional Solana one when it's like super hot. Like I won't ever catch one super early. I'll catch kind of like the bigger ones, you know?
For sure, yeah. Aslo, man, what's up? Can you talk? Are you on the mic or
No, it's hey, what's up, guys? How's it
what's
going?
up, bro?
Jinzo, first one, man. It's awesome that you're doing this. Thank you for doing this.
Thank
You've
you,
been
thank you.
so in the trenches. It's great to hear from you too. My thoughts are a little bit boomerish, so for fear of not getting left out the room. But where my eyes are in a couple. They're not anything flashy or anything so exciting, but a couple contrarian bets that I have my eyes on. First off, I think Coin is being a little bit overlooked right now. Coin had a really not good report recently, earnings report this past time, like last week I think it was, and it's kind of dumped a little bit, but it's fantastic and there's a lot of upside. It's really really solid, right? So I think Coin's no joke, and I think should be paid attention to and looking at the charts. I also think the whole ETH thing is getting overblown. To be honest with you, like heavily overblown. And last I checked, I know the on-chain metrics show Sol being the champion. I don't disagree. I love Sol, but last I checked, Sol doesn't have an ETF, and ETH does have an ETF, many, and that's where institutional dollars are going to go. So it's not that Sol won't get an ETF. It's just that right now you're at a very 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 low sentiment on ETH, and it's still one of the two places you could put institutional money. So I don't know. I have a lot of attention on that. And if you look at some of the ETH charts, they're unsurprisingly like very low, very very low compared to probably what it should be. So I know that that's going to be a comment that's maybe laughed at by half of the people in here, but my eyes are in those couple places. Maybe also MicroStrategy too, which I think a lot of people are not familiar with outside of our world.
No, I think those are very valid points. You know how it is, right? When CT goes one way, sometimes you need to go the other. They've been shitting on ETH for weeks now, but at the same time, I don't think they realize how big what you just said is. Like the institutional money doesn't care what's happening on chain. They want to see if it's a sound investment, and they see that ETH has outperformed in years, right? So why wouldn't they park their money there? It's one of their on ramps that they have. So I think that's definitely valid. And if you think about it, it's on discount compared to the rest of the market right now. So do they really care about the technology? Maybe not. Do they care what ETH can do and where our money is going? Probably not. You know what I mean? Some might, because obviously they dig into that stuff, but at the same time, they have access to ETH, they have access to Bitcoin. So why wouldn't they park their money there? I'm not as bearish as the rest of the market on ETH either. I think it's still a very good technology. I think the building blocks are there, and the reason why it might be taking a little hit, especially short term, is because everybody's just building on L2s and it's removing traffic from L1s, which obviously affects a lot of the stuff they put into place. Like it's not going to become deflationary and all that anymore because there's just nobody trading ETH and it's not burning as much ETH as before. But I mean, there's still a lot of things going for it. It's the biggest building blocks in crypto still. But yeah, Sol ETFs are coming. Money is gonna flow in there too. But I don't know. I don't think ETH is a bad play at all. And Coinbase. I think their what's it called? Their boomer coin, their stock could have done much better if he just gave us the name of his dog. But that's just me.
Well, I think it's the decision making, right? Like they went the route of buying back their stock rather than just buying Bitcoin, which to me, as a Coinbase, like makes zero sense to me.
My MicroStrategy is always a good play, but what I tell people usually is, it's good if you're not trading crypto and you want to buy MicroStrategy. That might be your way of getting into like some sort of crypto exposure, even though it's not crypto. But even my friends that tell me, "Oh, I'm investing in MicroStrategy," I always tell them, "Why don't you just buy Bitcoin? The guy's buying Bitcoin, and you're not going to buy Bitcoin. The whole point here is that Bitcoin is the main thing. Why are you buying a stock?"
If you look at the chart, I get you, Jinzo. If you look at the chart, though, it's like it's very leveraged. Like at some point, it was of course very very low, so it's more like a magnified bet on Bitcoin. I think. To be honest with you, I hadn't spent a lot of time on MicroStrategy before the last couple of weeks of looking at the chart history, and it's very amplified. And if he's going to be spending how much is it? 36 billion he's trying to raise, if I'm not mistaken.
Something like that. On 30s of billions, yeah.
Yeah, then very, very amplified, possibly. So I don't know. That's it. Just boomer thoughts for you guys today.
No, we need those, man. We've been so degen lately that it's always good to have those thoughts. They're very important, right? We can gamble away all our money on meme coins and stuff, but knowing those facts is always a big thing in this space because it gives you a huge edge. And we were just talking about an edge and how edges are important in this market. And while everybody's just focusing with all these distractions like meme coins and shit coins, it's important to realize where the market is going. And these facts help you realize that. So yeah, Van Squeeb, another one here. My continual realization as I've been learning to trade is is to spend as much time on the mental side as you do on the technical side, if not more on the mental side. And I agree because you end up taking such mental hits in this game, and if you're not working on that always on your mental side, and maybe it's like learning how to get over your losses, learning how to, you know what I mean, recenter yourself, like I was saying earlier. Just, you know what I mean, just working on yourself, you're just not gonna have a solid foundation, and you're not able to make it in this space. We all miss bags, we all miss bottoms, we all miss chart like coins, and we all miss tops. That happens to everybody. So if you end up working on your mental side and you're better than everybody else on the mental side, and you're able to kind of like, you know what I mean, really get mentally strong and fit, you could go far in this space because then you could deal with loss much easier, and you can deal with like ups are easy to deal with. Anybody could deal with euphoria and like all the good side of crypto. But what I've noticed throughout the years is a lot of people have a really hard time with loss and how that affects them. So really there's a lot of things you can do. Be more responsible with your positions, be more responsible with your funds, make sure you are always looking to set some aside and mitigate risk. Like don't play for only what's going to happen in 6 months from now. You really want to concentrate on what's happening with your bags now and how you're setting aside crypto and not just meme coins and shit coins. Like, I mean, a lot of that plays into the mental side. And just focusing also on how to get strong mentally too. It's not just about mitigating the risk. It's also about how to strengthen that. And a lot of it is going to be just becoming numb over time to loss. But at the same time, that's not really a solution because becoming numb to it just lets you make more mistakes and not feel the effects of them. So it's just really about always looking back and taking those lessons and learning from them, and just always adjusting your strategies and getting stronger on how to trade and stuff, and not just being okay with loss, because that's not really a solution. That just makes you numb to it and you end up losing more and not caring. So yeah, I mean, that's just how I see it.
I mean, you said
Yeah.
that perfectly. Like, just look at when we play DFS, you win 5K or 10K, and it feels like so much money. But if you win on a trade like a few ETH, it feels like nothing, right? But meanwhile, it's the same amount of money.
Yeah, man, I've learned, like, a lot of us that went through NFTs already learned that, like how crazy swings can be. A lot of us did Top Shot early on, and even my account ran to 100K, and I was laughing my ass off on the way up. But when it came down, it didn't feel so good, and I ended up round tripping a big bag, and I think I've done that multiple times. Like, look at my PFP; it's an ape. It was at 500K at one point. It must be worth like 50K now. So, or less even. So yeah, it's just all things that numb you a little bit, but you need to learn from them. It's not just about being numb to it. You need to learn from them so you can be able to set aside that generational wealth that we're all here for, right? And kind of get out of the trenches and work on your life a little bit. We don't want to
Yeah.
round trip this cycle too.
Definitely not, man. Like, I try to be a little bit more aggressive taking profits this time around.
Go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, Van Squeeb says everything's a learning lesson. I think that's like super important. That's certainly like how I try to view any type of like loss or challenges that I face. Honestly, not even like, not to get deep, but not even in like just trading or investing, but just life in general. If you have challenges thrown at you, I think if you can try your best to have the perspective of like, okay, this sucks, but like I am gonna be a better, person for so and so reason because I like face this challenge. Like I'm more hardened individual because of this. I'm more like well-rounded. I face this so I can face many other things in the future. I can grow confidence from it. I think that's like so important, just for like a mental framework, and perspective on life in general, and certainly in trading. I think if you want like certain actionable steps, I think something that helps me a lot, from like the mental side of things, is just like writing down all my trades. We've talked about this before, but just like keeping track of everything that I'm doing. That way it's like it's very clear like on paper like what I did. Like how much I made, how much I lost on each trade. I can go back and look back like, okay, I messed up this here. I like didn't follow whatever my rules are for like a certain X amount of um, capital per trade. Um, I can go back and like analyze it from more of an objective view, and that removes some of the emotion um, from the trading. And also, like if you want, I know it helps people to set like certain rules and like taking profit over X amount. So and so. But I think just in general, even if it varies from trade to trade, just like having a plan in each trade, like like at least have like a general idea of like I'm gonna exit this position in X amount of time or at a certain price or for some like trigger events like um whatever that is, just having that idea, and like not being afraid to cut losses if whatever if whatever the scenario of the trade that you had in your mind when you first entered like doesn't play out, just recognizing that yeah, that didn't play out how I wanted, and now this trade is different than when I first entered, and is no longer the plus EV trade that I originally saw when I entered it. So it makes more sense to cut losses and then move on to the next thing.
Agreed. Yeah, liquidity is king. Don't stay stuck with dead bags. I think just make sure you always have some liquidity on hand. It was one of the hard lessons that a lot of us learned even in NFT days, right? Like a new mint would come up and we'd be like, "Oh man, I have no liquidity," and we'd look for liquidity everywhere and just sell all kinds of bags. But guess what? We're not the only ones doing that. So you don't want to be like everybody else selling to get into the next thing because everything's just dumping across the board when something new comes out. And even in shitcoins, that's true. We've seen that quite a bit. Like with this peanut run up, every other bag was just dying. But if you have liquidity, you don't have to be the one selling into dead bags and taking losses left and right to get into the next thing. So yeah, liquidity is definitely king.
Jake, can I
Yeah,
add to those points as well?
for sure, man. What's up, Les?
Yeah,
Sure. What's up, bro?
not much. I think those were all really good points. And something that I realized in like my trading journey is like risk, right? Like how much I'm risking really affects like my trades, my mental health, I think like yeah, just like be careful with like how much you're risking, and I think that will also like kind of just like support your trading journey.
100%.
Yeah, I've learned if I can't like get a good night's sleep because of my trade, that I'm overexposed to whatever that trade is, right? Then I have too much risk on board. Or if I can't, or if I have to like continue to check whatever it is while I'm like trying to do other stuff in my life, then I think that's always a good indicator that you just have too much risk for whatever the trade is than what you're comfortable in.
Yeah, that happened to me this week. Actually, I told myself, "Nah, I need a good night's sleep," and I'd called in chat Shrub at 5 million. But I'm like, man, I can't. It was like an hour before I was going to sleep, and I'm like, man, I can't keep this position open. I'm never going to sleep. So I ended up selling for like a 30% gain or something. The next day, I would have made a 5x. So that would have been great, but I would not have slept at all. And most of the nights, if I'm holding a position, I know I'm not going to sleep. So a lot of the times, I'll just sell everything and go to bed. And especially when I want to sleep well. If not, man, I'm telling you, I'm waking up every hour, checking my phone. Okay, go back to sleep. The chart's still okay. Literally every hour, just looking at my phone, checking if I'm okay. So I try not to be over invested overnight unless I know it's a mid to long term bag or something I'm comfortable with holding even like for the next day. But most of the times, yeah, it's just so bad for me. The next day I'm just like not in the right headspace because I didn't get a full night's sleep because of whatever coin. But yeah,
Yeah,
blessed
yeah.
pot. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna change the subject if you had more.
Yeah, no, go ahead. I was gonna do the same. Go ahead, Jake.
Um, yeah, great discussion though all around. Appreciate everyone's insights. Um, yeah, I just want to shout out a couple quick things before we wrapped up here. Just stuff that's going on in the market. OpenSea just announced earlier. Um, Their OpenSea 2.0 is coming. I have no clue what it is, but there's a wait list that you can sign up for. Um, I don't know if it's like worth it at all, but I mean, I don't know. It's probably just you put your email in or whatever. We'll see what happens there. Um, WAF says, oh yeah, WAF says no boss dogs today. By the way, we'll be back next week. Do you have any WAF while you're here? Did you have any ordinals or Bitcoin stuff that you wanted to shout out?
Not really. I mean, it's more like again like the chop. I mean, we were looking so good early last week, and then we kind of just faded. I think once we get through election season and we see like Bitcoin price probably pump after election day is how I'm kind of positioning myself. Then I think we'll see all the runes just kind of bounce back. But until then, everything is just going to languish along with the Bitcoin price.
So last I heard, maybe it was like a week or two ago, runes were pumping when a lot of different stuff was pumping. Has there been some retraces then since?
Yeah, there's been some retraces. Like the big winner of like the newer runes has been Gizmo Imaginary Kitten, which is still at like a $16 million market cap at 24.5 sats. So I mean that's still pretty good, but it ran up to like probably close to double that. So it's probably retraced about 50%. And then the latest one that came out during the week was Memento Mori, which is like this was actually pretty interesting. So this was dropped by Casey Rodarmore, and if you had a subscription to his Patreon, you got like half the airdrop. And then he inscribed some ordinal from inscription number 0, and he basically put some location in Minecraft. If you played Minecraft and you found the location, then you won the that particular inscription that's basically tied to inscription number 0. So some Minecraft kid expert or whatever basically found it, and now he's the owner of that inscription. I believe it's up for auction right now, and they're basically pricing it at I think anywhere between 1 to 5 BTC.
Wow, that's amazing. That's insane, bro. Imagine getting like going through that Easter egg hunt and finding that. I mean, good for him. He's always finding ways of like weird little ways of creative little ways of doing things on Bitcoin. So that's cool, man. That sounds like a lot of fun there.
Yeah, congrats to the player there.
It's a good segue to talk about our Pizza Pets Allow list that ends in 8 days too. If you guys haven't joined that, I mean, it's gonna be fun. I like what they're doing over there at Pizza Ninjas, and the Pizza Pets is a good way of getting involved. I think we've talked about it in the past in detail, but basically these pets, you're gonna be able to do a lot with them and grow them, and they can even die on you. And like there's a bunch of different things you could feed them, and I think it's gonna be a cool little game on Bitcoin if you want to get involved. We have 50 spots to give away, so just if you haven't done it yet, join the Pizza Pets Allow list. It doesn't cost you anything, and it's a good way of getting involved in the ecosystem. We also have the Firecoin white list that's going to end in 8 days. Again, we're probably going to talk about these next week, but might as well just cover them now too while we're here. We have a few spots to give away for Firecoin there, and then we have the Bali's Badge Bonanza, which also gives you ball token airdrop. There could be a nice little edge on that one since we don't have a lot of participants yet. You might be able to win some spots for that ball token over there. They have a nice game. Basically, Bally's is a game created by a really good team actually over on crypto.com. They created their game on crypto.com. They have a mobile app and everything, and I've played it. It's pretty good. But yeah, they're coming out with their token soon, and more games that you can use the token with, the token for. So that one's good to look at too. And other than that, just to call out a few shows, Boss Dogs, as we just said, canceled. I'm glad we got a little bit of an update on what's happening on Runes at least. Wednesday, join me and Jake for shitcoin talk. It'll be a lot more of what we just covered today too, strategies and stuff, and how we look at the market. We'll talk about a few coins that are popping off, and I'm sure the politics. The election is going to give us a bunch of talking points for that. And one of my favorite shows actually that I've listened to lately is Azrin and Silva's Fantasy Top Down. We have that one going on every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern on Twitter. It's gotten a lot of traction, and it's been an incredible show, and the production quality's gone up. incredibly every single week. Just so much fun watching them rip packs and talk about their decks and how they attack the week. So that one's definitely a must. And on Friday, if you're into NFL and want to learn more about the FS, as you saw, we're getting some big wins in here. If it wasn't for that talk on Fridays, I don't think I'd have the results I do. Even though I use a lot of sims and stuff. I mean, we have a lot of smart people here, including Poopaloop. That's just a wizard when it comes to NFL. And Jake has good takes too. So come join us for that if you're interested.
I just want to say one thing on Pizza Pets. Next week on Boss Dogs, we'll have Chris Coffee Eat to kind of walk us through and discuss some things about Pizza Pets.
Oh, I love that. Chris is such a good dude too, man. I'm glad he's coming on.
Love it. Yeah, well, I wanted to do one other shout out. Ape Chain. Can't be remiss without shouting out the meme coins did not work out over on Ape Chain, but the NFTs are actually doing pretty well over there. I don't know if anyone got in. I know Monkeys is like the premier one. It's 738 floor I'm seeing right now, which I don't know how much Ape is, like $1 something. Oh, it's 91 cents now. But I think those are like several hundred X from mint price. So there's a lot of activity going on. And now there's like pengies that are getting a lot of volume, which are like the penguin derivative, obviously, of the monkeys. So I just want to shout out there's like a little mini NFT renaissance of action going on over on Ape Chain. If you're looking to get involved there, I know we do have a Yuga thread. Curious if anyone is on the Ape Chain stuff or if there's any takes on if this is going to last.
Yeah, that's a good shout. I mean, I completely forgot to talk about this, but like the monkeys ran up to 1,200, and there's been a lot of mints that do multiple X's. Even the apes on Ape Chain had gone up to like 50 ape at one point. I mean, it's to some people, it might be small prices, right? Like a few bucks here and there, but some of these are running up to 1,000 ape. And you have some of the art that ran up quite a bit too. That gets less volume, but have like given a lot of opportunity. Pengies are running up. I don't think my strategy here would not be to buy tops now, but if you could get into something for cheap and accumulate, it might be good. Like I bought a bunch of apes on Ape Chain at 5 ape a while ago, and I probably should have sold some in the 40 range, but maybe they'll have a longer term flip opportunity. But yeah, I mean, there's opportunity there. It's just like when we saw with ordinals early on, or with any other. And I'm not comparing Ape Chain and NFTs to ordinals at all, but I'm just saying when nobody's looking at a certain sector, it opens up a lot of opportunity for people that are looking to risk in that sector. It's only when the masses come in that it becomes a mess and everybody's looking to flip and floors don't pump as high. But I think there is opportunity there. So definitely, if you're looking to try something different, that might be it. If someone in here has traded, I know Ranch I think was messing around with Ape Chain. If you have input, Ranch, and you can speak, it would be great to have your input, or anybody else that's played on Ape Chain.
For the OpenSea's sign up, is that on like email or on their website?
It's on their website. If you look in
Check the voice hangout chat. I
post it
posted
again. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
the link. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, we're approaching the hour mark here. Oh, we're actually past the hour mark. Yeah, actually, I had one last thing I thought would be fun, maybe to end on. Sorry, Jinzo, I didn't prepare you for this, but
Let's do it.
I think it'd be good. I feel like this is one of the things that the people want. I feel like it'd be fun to do like a pick of the week, or if you want a different time frame, if you want like month or the day or whatever. But it can be an NFT, it can be a coin or whatever. Obviously, this is a heavy, not financial advice. All personal opinions. Do your own research. All the disclaimers out there. But just something that you think that you personally think will do well over the next week, or you can do it. You can choose a different time frame if you want.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go back to Peanut on this. I mean, we saw it catch crazy bids when it's mentioned, and everybody's been mentioning it, using it kind of like as a silver bullet against the Dems. So I think Peanut might be a good one short term. I don't think I'm going to hold it too long term. And I know Foxy was saying in the shitcoin chat that some of the exchanges were already accumulating. He showed me some proof on chain, so it kind of changed my thinking a little bit on it. I was going to sell on the next pump, but I think maybe now I'll hold. I'll sell some on the way up, but maybe hold some maybe midterm, short to midterm, at least for this week to see how it shakes off with elections and all the announcements we're gonna have, from Elon Musk or whoever else supports the Republicans. That might be a good one. Longer term, I'm always gonna shout out Fwog, man. I love Fwog. I love what they're doing. I think it's one that's destined NFA, my opinion, but I think it's one that's destined to eventually cross the 1 billion market cap. It just keeps crawling upwards. Like we're in the 320s now, and last week it was in the 200s, and the week before was a little lower. And I feel so comfortable with my soul parked in Fwog. For those that haven't noticed, I'm gonna dig it up, but he's dropping one of ones. He was giving them out earlier on, and it's too bad I didn't get any. But I guess I wasn't friends with him early enough. But he's now making. He's giving up the last 15 on bid. I'm not saying go out and buy Fwog and bid on this because there's a lot of bids coming in, but it's 100 Fwog each raffle ticket, and this is the first one. He's gotten already, I think it must be close to 1,000 entries already for this one. So they're making big bank on these NFTs right now. Oh, it ended, but I think the last time I checked it was like at 900 tickets, and that was last night. So Fwog is definitely one I feel good about. The art's amazing, and I'm never gonna stop shouting out Fwog. I just love it, and I love the team. Like I've always said, yeah, this is mine. What about you, Jake? What are you looking at?
Well, I'm right in line with you. I was gonna say Fwog as well. I should have known that you're gonna take it as two.
Come on,
Um,
boy.
yeah, man. I think, like I said, I'm like largely looking to de-risk from stuff. The Fwog is exception in my eyes. It's just shown so much strength as well, especially like recently. It just feels like a big move is kind of loading for Fwog. It's like pretty much at all time high right now already, but it's up 50% on the week, and that's while other memes are kind of bleeding out. Like the bigger ones. Solana's down 8% on the week. Popcat's down 14%. Whiff is down 11%. And yeah, I mean, it's just showing a ton of strength. It feels like it's the next one up. And obviously for all the reasons that you said.
Love it. I'm glad people are starting to notice. It's just there's such a feel good project. There's nothing like anytime you go to the timeline and you just scroll through and you see that little frog, man, it just makes me feel good. And the art's so good. Like I don't know. A lot of it can be AI generated, maybe a lot of it can be also from the artist himself, but he just does such a good job of putting it together and keeping it simple that it's really got my attention.
All right. Anyone from the crowd? We'll give you opportunity to show your bags. The golden opportunity here.
Wow.
Fair enough.
I guess everybody
Fair
just likes
enough.
fog.
Jake,
Yeah.
yeah, I just want to know, like, were you thinking about putting in, like, are you doing any like longs or shorts on perpetual futures at all? Or are you like trying to time anything here, like betting on Trump winning, like putting in a long at like, like range low or something, or are you not even messing with it?
Yeah, no. I talked a little bit on the beginning of the show. I'm just not really. I think it's gonna be super volatile, whatever happens. I don't know. Right now, it kind of just feels like also to go back to like call back to Lizard Capital's field report. It just kind of just feels like gambling.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. It's just like there's just gonna be so much volatility, and like even if you feel like you have an edge on like which way something's gonna go, I don't know if it's gonna be a strong edge.
Right. Right.
Regardless, and you could
Uh,
just be and the market's gonna be so volatile, you could get shaken out even if you are right in the long run.
right.
So
Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm largely yeah, I think it's like a really like probably bad time to go perps or anything.
Yeah.
Um right now, I just think it's gonna be way too volatile over the next few days. So I'm
Yeah.
largely gonna kind of sit in my hands and see what shakes out and maybe buy some blood if there is some on
Is
some of
there
my favorite stuff.
Nice. Is there like a specific time where the announcement like gets made who won? And Is it today? Is it this weekend?
Yeah, we were talking about it earlier. Waff was saying that it might be not even till like middle of the night on Tuesday night, Wednesday
Mhm.
morning.
Yeah.
But I mean, it depends. It could be earlier if it's like a big victory, you know, then they don't have to count as many votes in different states. So, or there's like a chance that it lasts a few days. I think Jinzo was saying like the 2021, like we didn't know until like a few days after. If it's like
Oh,
really
gotcha,
close.
gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes
so we're not
sense.
really sure. Yeah.
Cool, man. Thanks, bro.
Wow, we were not strict on time at all here, eh? Well, if there's nothing else, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Anybody else? Last thoughts, last comments? Great. Well, oh, AI. It's gonna be, yeah. ETH NFTs on big dips. No kidding. That's never gonna stop. My bags. But yeah, thanks for coming, everybody. It was a fun little edition of Wake and Jake. We'll see y'all next week. Have a good week.
Yes, sir. Thanks, y'all. Thank you, Jinzo, for filling in. I know you'll be back next week as well. Can't wait.
Oh yeah, we're
And
gonna
thank
have
you
fun.
everyone for chiming in today. Great participation from the community. Love it.